everybody. I sure am missing rocking the blues with you all. In fact, I'm going to send you a big hug right now. So I thought, while we're missing each other, maybe we could hang out on my patio together while I do some fun projects around the house. So go grab a cold one, hunker down, and let's visit a little while I make my potting table. Here's the old one. Pretty well rotted out. I got the pieces all cut for the legs and the structural framework. So now it's time to primer and paint. We're getting the last coat of paint on all the structural pieces for the potting table. I got the legs and the cross beams. Once I get this all painted and dried, it's going to be time to assemble the foundational elements of the potting table. It's getting exciting. Oh, this COVID quarantine about to make me cry. Yeah, I feel so bad. Gotta find little projects, help the time go by. So here I am, hanging out with you, have a little drink, waiting for the paint to dry. Well, we just got to have a little fun through all this, don't we? So, hope you're having a good time hanging out with me, because I sure am enjoying hanging out with you. And here's to you. In the comments, let me know what you're doing to get through all this. Tell me about your projects. Tell me what you might be up to. Heck, tell me what you're drinking tonight. I'm having a little Jameson's on ice. So I think it's about time we check on that paint. Hopefully it's dry by now. So let's carry on with this potting table project. So now we start to assemble. Yay! I pre-drilled some holes. Got everything ready to go. Time to assemble the frame. All right. Frame is constructed. So I had to notch out a 2x6, the one that's at the very back of the top. So I put some stock behind it so that my saw blade would come farther out and get to the fat part of it. And I did the cross cuts using my chop saw. And then I did these horizontal cuts here, this cut here, with this tool, which I'm in love with now. I think it's just called a multi-tool. And it just did the vertical cuts here in the middle to notch it out. Boy, did it make it easier. I used it on some drywall the other day too. That was great. So now, and then I also kind of finished it off with a little file here, make it a little nicer. So the moment of truth, let's see if it fits. Swing the camera over here. All right. Perfect. Went right in. Yay. And it's lined up perfectly with the back. It's a nice fit. Making the next steps. Now it's going to be time to paint the boards that I'm going to use for the top and for the lower shelf. And then also I'm putting a little shade partition here, so I'll have a framework that I'm going to put some shade cloth on the top. So it's coming together. So I'm getting the second coat of paint on the top and the bottom shelf, and it's this beautiful rich red barn color, which I just love. I don't know if it's the Midwestern girl in me or what, but I love that rustic color. So we're getting very close to being able to assemble it, and I can't wait. Time to get it in position. All right, time to put in the top. I'm going to start with the back piece because that's the trickiest one to fit in. Everything's lined up perfectly. And I'm going to check the fit of how all of the pieces come together before I start screwing them in, so that I make sure I like how it goes from one board to the next. Starting to look like a potting table. Yeah. Next, I'm going to cut the plywood for the back. And a useful trick my dad taught me, thank you Dad, for cutting plywood and making sure you do a straight line is to clamp down a straight edge. In this case, I'm using a nice straight 2x4. And you clamp it however far away the saw blade is from the edge, in this case, 1.25 inches, then you clamp your straight edge 1.25 inches back from the line you want to cut, and then that just helps you make a perfectly straight line. So thank you, Papa, for teaching me these awesome skills. And notice, while I was talking, I made sure the saw was unplugged to protect my blues guitar fingers. First cut's done. Now I got to set up for the second cut. Got my straight edge all set up. Now I can make that second cut. And you always want to have plenty of support underneath the plywood, and then you make sure that you check that the line that you're cutting isn't going to go through any of your supports. Here's the back. So I've decided to have a little heart-shaped cutout in the backboard. So here we go. I'm going to drill out a starter hole and then use my jigsaw. One heart shape. I'm going to clean it up a little bit with the file. Make the edges smoother. So here you can see the little heart shape. I've primered up the board, and the next step will be painting. You know, it occurs to me that one of the great things about painting is you can see exactly where you've been and exactly where you need to go. Don't you wish life was that easy? See, philosophy. It's a dangerous thing, giving me too much free time. These times are very strange. I can't wait for them to change. There's just so much that feels out of control. Yeah, we gotta find a way. No bad news every day. Oh well, we all need something good to soothe our soul. For me, that's playing the guitar. Hey now, I hope that hanging out like this is helping you feel good, feel better. I know some of you are hurting out there. I am holding you close in my heart, and I can't wait to get back to doing live shows so we can share a blues healing together. Until then, let's get back to this project. So now I'm going to attach the back, and you can see I've clamped it into place. And I always am checking that things are level and square. You can see, you know, this makes a little carpenter's heart pitter patter when the bubble's in the middle. And then we check. We got it on the top. We got that bubble in the middle. And now we're ready to go. Yay! Now that the back is on, the next step will be to put in a couple of shelves here. It's really coming together now. And according to my plans here, first one's going to go in at 11 inches. Now I'll drill some pilot holes. So this bit is kind of crazy cool. At some point I discovered it somewhere because it's flexible. So you can bend it in there and still screw in something without damaging your material. Happy little shelf. So now it's getting really close to being finished. Got those two shelves on. And the last thing to do is get my shade shelter up there. That's going to be the trickiest thing, had the trickiest angles. So stay tuned. So now I'm getting ready to put on the shade shelter, and I've braced it up into place, and I'm going to put a couple of screws in to hold it while I get the brackets figured out. So now what we have to do is attach these brackets right here and I bought some really long screws, these guys, and I have to drill through here and attach that, and then I can use a shorter screw to attach there. But I had to figure out the angles, and I couldn't help myself. I used a little trigonometry there to figure out what angle I should cut the top of the 4x4, and then I had to figure out what angle I would cut the 2x4 bracket here based on the fact that this side was 45 degrees, and I knew that this angle coming through was 16.7 degrees. Anyway, fun with math. So now it's time to drill in the screw holes for those brackets. I'm using this 4x4 that I use these clamps to hold in place. I want to get this perfectly vertical and the 45-degree angle to stay put. So I'm letting this board rest on this for support. Got it in just the right spot. Two brackets. The heads on these screws are really big, so I'm going to drill out a bigger hole so they can set down in there. Now the head of the screw will recess down in, and then I'll paint that up so it's all finished out. So now the frame is all made, mounted up, brackets are good and solid, and we just have to put the shade cloth on it. So my potting table is all finished. I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I had a blast sharing this with all of you. So thanks for watching. Good luck with all your projects.